Alright, great. So it's the next day and you've let your dough prove overnight in the fridge, and this is proved for about 12 hours or so, give or take, and it looks like this. So it's proved up nicely. You can see how much it's growing, and it's not overproved. You can tell because when you press it, it bounces back. If it was overproved, that depression would stay. So about 12 hours, you could prove it probably for like maybe even another 10 or so, because it's quite cold in the fridge obviously, so it's proving quite slowly, and that's how it develops all its flavour. But so to bake it, you need to put your Dutch oven, your heavy pot, into the oven and get it really hot. So I've got my oven on about 220 as a gas oven. So if you've got an electric oven, 200 to 220 is fine. You want it really, really hot because you want the bread to spring when it goes into the pot. It's called oven spring. So you're also going to need something to cut the bread with. I've got something called a lame. It's a little sharp blade on a stick. You can just use a small knife, so long as it's nice and sharp. That's the key thing, just to be able to slash the outside of the dough. So a small knife is fine, as long as it's really sharp. Alright, so what I'm going to do is take the really hot pot out, put it on a board, not to burn the work surface, turn out the dough, cut it, put the lid on, put it back in the oven, and then bake it. And then we're almost done. Alright, so hot pot out of the oven, and we turn the dough into the pot. Sometimes easier said than done, and the cloth will probably stick a little bit. Okay, so it's come out pretty neatly, so makes it nice and easy. And then what you're going to do is slash the dough, and some nice cuts like that. Let the dough expand a bit more, and then put the lid on. Don't forget to use the cloths. Pick up the pot because it's ruddy hot, and pop it back in the oven. And it's going to cook for about half an hour with the lid on, and then take it off, and it's probably going to cook for another 20 minutes or so. Around there. It depends how hot your oven is and how much heat it's holding. And that's it. We'll have a look in a minute and see what it's like. Take it out, have a little test, and put it back in again. Alright. Alright, so it's had about half an hour in the oven. So what you're going to do now is take the lid off, and then allow the rest of the cooking time to happen with the lid not on. Okay, so make sure you're nice and careful. It's super hot. Take the lid off. It's going to look like that. It's quite pale. But it's cooking away nicely, and back in the oven, and another 20 minutes or so until it gets really nice and dark. You want it as dark as like a roast hazelnut, so no white parts on it at all. And then it's ready. Alright, so that's another 20 minutes in the oven with the lid off, well, come and have a look. I'll show you what it's like. So there you go. So obviously it's pretty hot, nice and dark, and all these parts here where it might have been white sort of 10 minutes ago, sort of pale white dough colour, I've totally kept cooking it to make sure that it's not. Because if there are white lines here, it's a really good sign that it's not completely cooked through. It needs a bit more cooking. And obviously it's lovely and dark. It's got a really nice crust on it, and it's expanded nicely, and yeah, it's got a real nice crust, and as it cools down you'll hear it crackling away, yeah, that's it, all good. Don't be afraid to cook it really dark. So that's it, the end.